after an 8-5 season in 2022, going 2-5 in one-possession games, 2 of those losses being without starting quarterback Quinn Ewers, Texas is, in Steve Sarkisian's words, finally starting to look like his team. This is a team that ranked number 3 in the 2023 recruiting class, has lost a lot of players to the transfer portal, which is kind of what Steve Sarkisian wanted. This is a team that needed to have a culture change, get rid of the bad apples, and bring in a lot of winning players. They have done just that, bringing in the likes of Gavin Holmes, Adonai Mitchell, Jalen Catalon, D'Angelo Carter, and others, especially with the top recruiting class bringing in 4 5-stars, Arch, Anthony Hill, Cedric Baxter, John Tate Cook, and 5 other 4-stars, all ranked in the national top 200. Now, you do lose wide receiver Brendan Thompson to Oklahoma. You lose 2 offensive linemen. You lose a couple other guys. But even with that and Bijan going to the draft, you still return 85% of your offensive production from 2022.
Well, if you hear the buzz coming out of the crowd right now in the stadium, here he is, Arch Manning taking over, the highest-rated quarterback ever to sign with a Big 12 school in the ESPN 300 era.
The crowd is loving it.
It's going to come down to the offense. In my opinion, this is
looking to his left, and his first pass is complete. We had Steve Sarkisian this week. Obviously, we know the pressure on him, the spotlight on him. He rolls to his right. That one batted away.
Exactly. Sark said he does not want Arch Manning to come to Texas and work college football. He wants him to play college football. Enjoy it, man.
Has to throw that one away.
Be surprised if maybe 2 of them get close.
Saw Keelan Robinson sitting this one out on the sideline. Here's Arch Manning back in the game. Freshman stepping up in the pocket. You said he could move, and picks up a gain on the ground.
Deserved as well.
7-yard gain. Arch fires it out to his left. Bobbled and ultimately dropped by Kai Woods.
But that offensive line is winning the battle right now.
Final 3.5 minutes of the first half. Arch under pressure throws it away. For these final few minutes, we're now joined by Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian.
Second series so far, so he's got a lot more series in his career to go. I thought he made a good decision on first down right there, tucking it and getting positive yards on first down. So these are always the challenging, right? The challenging ones, the third longs, trying to make good decisions, tough throws under duress. On third down to extend drives, and then he's an excellent player for us on third down as well.
Loses the Alabama game.
How important the ball is for him, especially when you're not as big as other guys. And then two, you're not always going to hit those touchdown big runs like that. And so you've got to find ways to, get 4 and 5 dirty yards sometimes. And a receiver out of the backfield, a receiver in general. All right, when you got to expose your body and make those tough catches like that.
Now that was an amazing answer, Coach. So I want to give. I would love to see from some of these guys not just come in as a finished product straight out of high school.
There is Arch.
Both sides of the ball.
Final seconds of the quarter. Arch to his right. Big hit delivered to break up.
Danger. Here's Ewers. Winds up. Lets it go. Worthy. Hey! Got it inside the 5.
This is great anticipation on the deep ball, and frankly, something that he didn't show last week in his first start. Look at where the receivers are. He just lets this one go down the field.
Syracuse. Ewers to pass. Gets leveled as he throws a deep ball. And to the target. It's caught.
You've got a lot of talent coming.
It's really what you want. You want the middle and the bottom to be that good. To the end zone and add to the day for Quinn Ewers and JT Sanders.
And still compete for a championship.
Ewers, look at this! JT Sanders! Every which way.
They go empty. 5 receivers on this play. Now, in order for Texas to win the Big 12 championship, they're going to have to get through a very, very favorable schedule. I've already told you I think they beat Alabama and Bryant-Denny. I'm an Alabama fan, for those of you that are new here. I live in Alabama, born and bred, Roll Tide. I'm also very unbiased. I was all against Alabama making the playoffs last season. I don't think Alabama has what it takes to beat Texas in Bryant-Denny on September 10th. Could they? Absolutely. Would I be surprised if they do? Absolutely not. But right now, I'm going with Texas, which when you look at this schedule, you have Rice. That's a win. Don't lose the food. Shout out to Josh Pate. Alabama, Wyoming, Isaiah Nayer's old team. Isaiah Nayer's coming back. Just step up in the offensive wide receiver room, the production value. He's a huge, huge get for Texas this season. Baylor in week number 4, I think that's a win. I just don't see – I said September 10th on Alabama. I'm sorry, September 9th. I think Baylor's a win. I don't think Baylor's going to be their 2021 top caliber team. I think Texas is going to hit the ground running this year. Same thing with Kansas. You get Kansas at home. I like you to beat Kansas again. That puts you at 5-0. We'll say worst case you drop to Alabama, or you beat Alabama, you drop to Baylor, something like that. Because going to Baylor is going to be tough, don't get me wrong. You go into the Red River Shootout 5-0, 4-1, something along those lines. Now, where it stands with Oklahoma, I think you're about even. I don't trust Oklahoma's offense just yet. Again, as it stands today, I don't trust Oklahoma's offense to keep up with you, to compete with you. I think we do see a 75, 80-point game in that, but I think Texas wins it. And I also think that's a preview of the Big 12 championship that we will see again in December. At Houston, Big 12 newcomer. I think that's a game you should win. I don't think Houston, BYU, UCF, I don't think any of them are really just going to make waves this year. Will they get some wins? Probably, but I think they'll get some wins over Iowa State, Texas Tech, Kansas State, things like that. With that being said, after Houston, you play BYU at home before you go to Provo next year. Actually, no, you won't go to Provo next year. You'll be in the SEC. Regardless, I think you get BYU. I think you probably beat them by about 20. Kansas State, I think you should win that one as well. I just don't really see Kansas State being able to keep up as they could last year with Deuce Vaughn back there. They had a lot of firepower. TCU, keep in mind, TCU is getting Chandler Morris back, who was their starting quarterback last year. Beat out Max Duggan, even though Max Duggan carried them to the national championship. They're getting their QB1 back. TCU is going to be good. They get a lot of transfers coming in. There won't be that much of a drop-off for TCU. Now, they do lose their OC. I think they'll be fine. I think you're looking at a 10-2 TCU team. Iowa State, still a little ways to go here. I don't see them. I think it was 2020, maybe 2021, where everybody was really high on Iowa State. Same with North Carolina with Sam Howell. They kind of crapped the bed and hasn't really returned since. I think Texas gets a win there. Then I think you beat Texas Tech. I think you're literally looking at a 10-2 worst-case Texas team and 11-1 probably realistically. And then maybe even a 12-0, and then, again, rematch against Oklahoma or maybe against TCU in the Big 12 championship. That's just how I see this thing going. I don't really see Oklahoma State. I don't see UCF. I don't see really anybody else outside of those three that would compete for a Big 12 championship this year. Now, I could be wrong. Again, it's only April 25th here, so there's still a lot of – we're still 8 months away, 7.5 months away from conference championship week. But regardless, I could see Texas at 12-1 probably making the playoff. I could. I think it depends on when that loss happens, who that loss is to. Look at TCU last year. If you go in the Big 12 championship 12-0, you lose to Oklahoma or TCU, a team you've already beat. That's going to be in your favor. If you go 12-0 or 12-1, win the Big 12 championship with a loss to Alabama, you're probably in. No one's going to hold a loss to Alabama against you. Now, on the flip side of that, let's say Texas goes 8-4 again. Is Steve Sarkisian on the hot seat? Probably. Does he make it through the season? I think so, but I think if he goes another 8-4, 9-3, I think he could get away with because it's improvement. 8-4, anything less, 75, 6-6, you're looking at Steve Sarkisian might not make it to 2024 when they move to the SEC. But once they move to the SEC, say they start out 2-2 in 2024 or something like that, I think Sarkisian's gone. That's how I see this Texas program being, and I talked about it at the beginning of the video. Texas is they're there. They're ready to go. They're ready to compete. But you've got to win the Big 12 now, because when you go into the SEC next year, it's a whole different world. And the Big 12, I think, is yours for the taking at this point. But let me know how you guys see Texas, how their season panning out. what your expectations are for this year. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 500. Thanks, guys.